Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about these things, wood stoves. Some of my most popular videos ever are about wood stoves. And today I'm going to tell you about something that people are throwing away. Homesteaders are throwing away. Dumb. So dumb. Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about wood ash. This amazing thing that people throw away year after year. Every year in wintertime, they had the wood stoves going and they get all this wood ash and they throw it away. Absolutely the wrong thing to do. It frustrates me beyond comprehension. The same way it frustrates me when I see people throwing all these leaves away out of the yard every year instead of composting them and using them. It's an amazing mineral-rich resource. Same with wood ash. So before we start, this is my favorite childhood book of all time. It's called The Great Brain. The Great Brain. It takes place back in the 1890s. I read this. Mrs. Hardy, my fourth grade teacher, read this in class, a couple of the chapters in class, and I was hooked. I went home and I got the entire series and I read this as a child. And now my children are reading it. In fact, we're reading it together. I am one of those dads who reads to their children. And in the story, the recent one we just read, it has mama, they called her mama, and she's having her boys polish the silverware, the real silverware, just like this is. You can see a little bit of a tarnish on there right there, with wood ash. It's an amazing silver polish. And today we have chemicals. We have all these things that you buy because nobody has wood stoves in their homes anymore. The wood ash was amazing. You could use it as a polish, and it polished the silver perfectly. And that's what they did in the story. I love this book. And speaking of silver, a precious metal, again, something that was valuable, something that was used. This video is sponsored by Genesis Gold Group. If you notice in my videos, I do not put ads in the middle of my videos. They're either at the very beginning or they're at the very, very end. But I hate it when people put ads in the middle of the videos. It's just, I'm watching, I'm interested in what's going on, and then ad. I hate that. I don't do it. I don't do it because I don't like it, and I don't think you like it either. And because of that, and YouTube has already slashed our ad revenue as it is so far, I have a sponsor called Genesis Gold Group, so check them out at the end of the video. Anyway, The Great Brain. Check it out. If you have small children, they'll love this book, especially boys. They love this book. All of the things you can do with wood ash. I have to bring up my notes because I'll forget it. I'm only going to mention a few of them because it's so vast. The list of uses for wood ash, for polishing silver, number one. For making soaps. People have been making soaps with this for a long time. They basically take the stuff. There's all kinds of recipes, all kinds of YouTube channels out there that talk about the recipes for making soaps with different sorts of fats like beef, tallow you can use, or, sometimes people use pork, but I wouldn't put pork on my body. But lots of recipes out there for making soaps. It makes very effective soaps. Also for smells, if you've ever had a pet come in from the outside and get sprayed from being sprayed by a skunk, everyone says use tomato juice, but actually tomato juice, while it's helpful and it helps to break down those compounds that make up the smell that the skunk has sprayed on your pet or you, combining that tomato juice with wood ash makes it way more effective. Way more effective. Put that wood ash on there with the tomato juice, let it sit for a few minutes, and then rinse it out. The wood ash makes it so much more effective. Also, like creaky wood floors. If you have wood flooring and you walk on, you hear a creak. That's the wood rubbing together. If there's a little crack there, you can work that wood ash into that little crack, and it'll just work in there, and it'll get rid of the creaky wood floors. Bet you didn't know that one. A de-icer for driveways, another one of my favorites. In the wintertime, the wood stove is always going. And if you have driveways that have ice on it and you have a wood stove, take that ash that you've been saving and then spread it on that driveway. It'll melt the ice. Actually, and give you some traction as well. Also, this is a good one. Activated charcoal. Activated charcoal. So activated charcoal and ash are not the same thing. However, ash has a lot of the properties that activated charcoal has. And so we have this thing here. I move the silverware here. This is the Brown Recluse First Aid Kit. And I don't know if this website's still in business. I got this years ago, but maybe it's brownrecluses.com. It's a free plug-in for them. But brown recluse bites are very... in fact, I had a friend of mine years ago who was killed by one. It took 10 years to kill him, but he didn't get it treated properly, and over 10 years it killed him. Anyway, brown recluse first aid kit. It's made up of a solution of herbs and stuff, and then activated charcoal. And wood ash will do the same thing. Wood ash will draw the poisons out of a spider bite. If you get a spider bite, like a brown recluse or a black widow, throw some wood ash on there. Mix it with, if you can mix it with some like an oil compound and some salt water, and then mix it in that wood ash and put it on that wound, and then cover the wound, and then get to a doctor. That would be the best thing to do, because that wood ash will draw that venom out of that wound. I remember years ago, I worked in an ER. I was an armed security guard. I got out of the military, and I went through the dot-com bubble crash, and eventually found myself working at an ER, a level 1 trauma center. If you know St. Louis, it's Barnes, downtown St. Louis, level 1 trauma center. I was an armed security guard, and I worked the night shift. Let me tell you something. I have seen stuff. I have seen things. And one of the things that I saw on a regular basis were people who came in from drug overdoses. And if they were coherent, they made them drink a black activated charcoal sludge in order to absorb the poisons in their stomach, and it would make them throw up. If they were not coherent, they would intubate them, force that stuff down their throat, and then pump their stomach. And that activated charcoal, what it would do, it would absorb all the poisons. And so it can be, again, I gotta be careful what I'm saying here on YouTube, because you can't give medical advice or things like that. So, but I'm just telling you what I saw, and me thinking, okay, ash having a lot of the properties that activated charcoal has. Activated charcoal is definitely the better product for this, but ash will still help. There, consult a doctor. Anyway, I saw that in the ER, and I saw it over and over again. Cleaning glass, it can be a great glass cleaner. You take this wood ash and you put it on the glass, and you put some water, spray some water on there, and it will clean glass like Windex. The best Windex, you don't have to buy Windex anymore. You can just use wood ash and water, and it works perfect. I've done it many times, especially on the glass from my wood stove. It's great for gardens, lawns, and compost. Every year I'll take the wood ash, my pots of wood ash, and I'll spray it over the lawns, or I'll spread it over the lawns, or I'll spread it over the garden. And that garden will take that, and those minerals, there's calcium and potassium, and the plants just love it. Now I don't do it too heavy. I do it real light on the gardens, because if you do too much, you can actually hurt your plants. Okay, it can actually prevent the plants from growing if you lower the pH in your garden too much. Okay. I'm sorry, raise the pH in your garden too much by using all this wood ash. So you got to be careful. Use it sparingly and use it thin, but your plants will love it, especially tomatoes and peppers. Now if you have a certain place where you grow your tomatoes and you grow your peppers, you can use it a little bit more heavy in those places, because they will like the ash and all the minerals that are contained within the ash. It's great for composting toilets. We use composting toilets often here. We have a way to get wood chips that we use for composting toilets. That's a great way to add carbon, and then we use hay to cover it when we put it out in our compost area, and that's the carbon and nitrogen, and they together raise the temperature of that to safely break down all of that waste material. But you can also use ash. It's a great way to reduce the smell. You won't smell anything in the home if you use a compost toilet in the home, and it also helps to break down that waste material. Also for ponds, reducing algae. So if you're like me, and I'm going to try this, I just learned this not that long ago, but if you have a pond and you have lots of growth, water growth inside the water that's basically clogging up or taking up all the space of the water, and the fish are it's good to have some plants in your water. But if the whole thing's being covered by algae, or if it's like got all these lily pads everywhere, it's not going to be so good. But you can take this wood ash and spread it over the water, and that will raise the pH so at a level that it makes it harder for all that algae and all those plants to grow and cover that pond. It also reduces the amount of oxygen that pond is allowed to have, and thus makes it harder for the fish to breathe. So you want to make sure you keep that plant growth at a minimum, and the wood ash is a perfect way to do that on your pond. Again, I see baths. So this is crazy. You're going to be like, baths? What are you talking about? Yes, if you're out camping, if you're out in the wilderness and you have campfires, you can take an ash bath. And you take the ash and you rub it all over your skin, all over your face, all over your hair, all over everywhere. And then you go in a creek or rinse off somehow, and it gives you a very clean feeling. It gets rid of all that sweat and grime and all that uncomfortableness that you have when you haven't had a bath for a while. So when you start to get that feeling, you can take an ash bath and then rinse it all off, clean, dip in a creek somewhere, and you will have that very good, clean feeling again. I love it. Toothpaste. It works. It's fantastic toothpaste. If you don't have any toothpaste anymore, people have long used ashes as a toothpaste and a brush to brush your teeth. It works fantastic. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds horrible because we're all a bunch of spoiled, rotten Americans who have no clue what it means to do anything different than what we've always done. We can't be taken out of our comfortable bubble. Don't pop my comfortable bubble. You're a bunch of spoiled Americans. Yes, you can brush your teeth with wood ash. It will clean your teeth. It's very good hygiene, and it works fantastic. Also, slugs in your garden. Going back to the gardens, if you take the ash and you spread that on over your gardens, slugs hate it, and other insects don't like it as well. So it can be a very good insect repellent. I would save your ash until the end of the winter season, and then take some of that before spring and start spreading that lightly over the garden, and that will reduce the amount of slugs that you see in your garden. I never have slugs in my garden. It's because I put wood ash on my garden. So if you have a problem with slugs, try to remember to save some wood ash. Leave a comment below and let me know, and that will be a great way to deter slugs from getting into your garden. So now, that's just the half of it. That's just a very small list of all the uses with wood ash. If you have something that I have forgotten, please put a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. You may help someone else with your ideas of how you use it as well. Soap, the lye and the ash is not caustic to your skin. To make really caustic lye, you have to basically render it down and boil it, and then keep adding it and render it down and boil it. That is very caustic. But if you just use it if it gets on your skin temporarily, it's not going to hurt you. Some people mistakenly will say ashes are bad for you and it can harm your skin. It won't harm your skin unless you're putting a concentrated form of it on your skin. Let that be known. I just want to throw that out there. Okay. Again, video sponsored by Genesis Gold Group. But before that, hey, check out our merchandise over at teespring.com. Some of our best shirts, also our Stupid Should Hurt shirt, our bestseller, available over at teespring.com. Links in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see your comment below. Let me know, like the video, and subscribe if you're not already. See you next time on the Homestead. Bye! This is Grandma. Grandma survived the Great Depression. She survived the Great Depression because her supply chain was local and she knew how to do stuff. Grandma was smart. Grandma told us to make do with what you got. She also said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Homesteading is all about self-reliance and declaring ourselves to be independent from the system. We grow our own food, we raise our own animals, and doing these things helps safeguard our families from the unpredictable world that surrounds us. But what about banking? I love being my own power company, but what about being my own bank? Right now, our country is over $30 trillion in debt and rising. The Fed keeps printing money, and the Congress won't stop spending money. Staying attached to the modern banking system and their investment vehicles is like putting all of your eggs in one very, very fragile basket. On one side, you have the threat of inflation and your savings value floating away. And the other side is a possible deflationary stock market collapse, just like what happened in the 1930s. Genesis Gold Group is like a basket holding eggs, and these eggs are impossible to break. History shows us that all paper investments have and will return to their intrinsic value eventually. Zero. But gold, silver, and other precious metals have never, ever been worthless. In every collapse throughout history, people have turned back to precious metals to find monetary value. If you have a 401k, an IRA, or a savings account where you're literally watching the purchasing power inflate away, give Genesis Gold Group a call right now. Today. This instant. They can develop a strategy for you in the days ahead. I can tell you how I raise sheep, I can tell you how I raise chickens, or the best way to grow tomatoes, or how to hook up a solar panel. But Genesis Gold Group is your best shot at safeguarding your hard-earned savings and investments during this increasingly turbulent time in history. The link and phone number is in the description below, or visit their website at genesisgoldgroup.com.
Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.